As you make your way through today, it will be mostly sunny and breezy. We'll see highs between 58 and 63. Becoming mostly cloudy overnight, lows dipping into the mid-40s. On tap for tomorrow, Friday, mostly cloudy skies. There will be a chance of showers early in the day, highs topping off at around 60. Partly cloudy tomorrow night, lows between 36 and 41. This is meteorologist Adam Bazile from the National Weather Station.
Thank you very much, Adam Money, the Music Man Severns, hanging out with you right here on a Thursday afternoon. Michael Palascak, welcome into the studio, sir.
Thanks, Money.
Man, it's great to have you along.
Oh, it's great to be here.
I'll tell you what, we are really looking forward to this show, and sold out. That's it.
No tickets.
No tickets left.
Yeah.
Not a one.
Nope.
And I'll tell you what, you've got to be excited about that. It's kind of, is this, now, I know you've probably been back here before, no doubt.
Yeah.
But this is really, really awesome for you and a chance to get back to your hometown. Tell us how it all started for you. What made you decide, hey, this is really what I want to do?
Come on, we brought this guy back. Full house, Eagles Theater. Thank you, Honeywell Foundation, for bringing live stuff back to the Eagles. Ladies and gentlemen, Wabash native, Michael Palascak!
Thank you. Oh, thanks. That's really... Thanks. Man. I hope it's good. I feel like I got my joy out of it. So this is great. A lot of standing up and sitting down for you guys. You know, some of us, I know I'm Catholic, I'm not going to Mass on Holy Thursday. It feels like a lot of you already went from all the standing up and sitting up. It's really, really exciting to be here on a lively Thursday night in Wabash, Indiana. I just feel really welcome, you know, like the mayor dyed the river brown, so that's good. That's the color, I remember it. That's the color, oh, wow. I thought I'd be nervous, but now I just feel at home. Should we walk to the river, or should we walk over there?
Yeah,
let's go to the river.
Yeah.
Let's go to the river. Let's go to the namesake, the reason.
Where the city gets its name.
Yeah. Wabash River. There was like a little thing, like a bar or whatever that jutted out that we'd go fishing on with my dad sometimes. We caught one fish the whole time. And I remember my younger brother, we took it back home and we put it on like the deck in a thing of water. I don't know what we thought was gonna happen, but my mom was supposed to cook it or something, and she didn't. And that night, the neighbor's cat ate it. Everything except the eye. The spirit, you can measure the spirit of the town by how the river is flowing, and today it is flowing. Like the town being the town, and then the rural part, I think definitely affected like jobs that my friends would get. Like they would corn, they did corn the tassel of the corn. That was like a job that people had. And I remember like playing baseball growing up. Like there were a couple of fields that we would go to, and like the background would just be like corn, and that's just what I assumed where baseball fields were made. Was that like as a kid? But that wasn't until years later when I traveled around that I realized that, oh, there's some cities that have baseball fields too. And then the one that we grew up on. A lot of shows, you know, sometimes they do them on like Fridays or Saturdays. So when they asked me to do the show, I was like, well, maybe, you know, maybe there's like a Friday or Saturday. But then I found out Rio 2's here on Friday and Saturday. So it's... There's nothing I can say to that. It's just like, oh, yeah. I mean, it's all the Rio 1, but it's the second, so. I don't know. It's fun. There we go. I'm really lucky that this is a job that I get to do. My
My older brother, he doesn't do this. He lawyers for his job, so it's kind of like. I hope no one laughs when he talks. That would be bad if that happened. I don't know. He works hard. He told me one time when he first started working, he had to work 80 hours in a week. Yeah. If someone told me I'd work 80 hours on something, I would just be like, oh, this is going to be a tight year. We should move Christmas to Saturday, just to be sure. If I had to work 80 hours in a week, I would have to take one of those hours just to, like, figure that out, right? Just like, all right, 80 hours? Okay, all right. I work 10 hours a day. That's only... I work 11 hours. No. Oh, my life is horrible. I'm gonna have to work 2 days in one day. That's gonna be a horrible day. Michael, how was your day? Which one? Because I put in 2. I remember one of the first times I sort of thought about doing this as a job was growing up in this town. I remember when I was in middle school, I had a teacher one time that she went around the classroom and tried to figure out what kind of jobs we would have just based on who we were then. Like one kid was like, I like sports. And she was like, well, maybe you'll be a coach. I remember it came around to me, and I just said what kind of like my parents had always encouraged, what I had always kind of thought. It came around to me, and I was like, I just want to have fun. And she looked at me, and she was like, you're going to get a divorce. I didn't know that was a job. Michael, what'd you learn in school today? That someday I'm going to have to give away half my video games. So I'm going to give the good ones to my younger brother now so she doesn't touch those. I don't even know who she is yet, but I hate her so much. She's not getting Zelda, that's for sure. It's a lot of fun doing stand-up because I get to travel and get to be around people for their special occasions sometimes. Like I got to be home for my mom's birthday this year, a couple days before her birthday. I was just like, Mom, what do you want for your birthday? And she said, oh, I just want someone to help me clean out the basement. I was thinking about something I could buy day of. It's not Make-A-Wish.
We had fun. We laughed.
Yes, we enjoyed it. It was good.
It's great to renew friendships again. Very, very special.
And so it's a unique place. It's like, and I remember someone saying in the early years, I think it was the pastor saying it takes a village to raise somebody, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, the family raises, but it does. Everybody just, it's an amazing place. It really is. It feels like we saw everybody yesterday, and it's just, and it's always a part of you. Except I was very tired when I was telling those stories. Bedtime stories.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was very harsh judgment.
But I think you do a really good job because I'll sometimes forget that he's my son, and I'll just be laughing, and then I'll be like, wait a minute, he's making a joke about me. So I think you do well on the performance level of acting as well. So that's kind of different.
Cool. Do you feel now that the English major move was a good move now?
That's an unfair question. That's an unfair question.
Yes, it's on camera.
It's
on camera.
I'll tell you what, we had made a decision that we wanted our kids, if you like what you do, you'll never work another day in your life. And that was our basic thing. So behind those scenes, I had to keep poking him and saying, but don't you want him happy at what he's doing? And so, he had worked out to have the freedom to.
Very happy.
It was a time in his life when you could just try it and see, and he just loves it so much that we really have never questioned it.
No, you're right.
It's just kind of taken to many, many levels.
Thank you guys for everything you've done.
Oh, you're
Appreciate it.
welcome.
That's it.
Yeah.
I just want that on record.
And I really didn't want you to get hurt on the curb.
No, and you definitely didn't want my younger brother to get hurt on the curb.
It's wonderful to see those observations
Yeah,
from
that you
your
remember.
point of view.
Yeah.
That's what people.
I'm not that much bigger than him. Like, I was in 5th grade, he was in 3rd grade. Like, or 2nd grade. My parents moved to the suburbs of Chicago when I went to college, and it was kind of cool because that's where I got to start doing shows. And I used to get a lot of parking tickets in Chicago because I wasn't used to that. They don't have that here, really. They're just happy you're here, you know? Like, no reason. Keep it there. Keep the car there. Chicago, I got a park. The cool thing about Chicago parking tickets, if you ever get one, is on the ticket, it lists all the different kind of parking tickets you can get and how much they all cost. So you can compare. Like I learned, it's $50 cheaper sometimes to park on the sidewalk. I didn't even know that was an option, let alone a discount. Next time you're in Chicago and you're looking for a spot and you're strapped for time, don't park in front of the fire hydrant, just pop the curb and pull up a little bit. The pedestrian should understand. It's like, what are you doing? You almost hit me. Look, I'm taking advantage of a great deal. I heard about it at a comedy show for Michael Palascak, michaelpalascak.com. Check out his shows. I just wonder how they figured out that pricing structure. Like you park in front of the fire hydrant, it's dangerous, $100. You park on the sidewalk, hilarious, $50. I don't know. My mom has a lot of family near Chicago. My aunt told me about Second City, and it sounded like a lot of fun, so I started taking classes there. And I started taking classes right about the same time I did my first open mic as a stand-up. So improv and stand-up have always been sort of together. I would go to improv class like during the day, and then go to open mic at night, or maybe I would a class at night and then go to an open mic afterwards. Like it was always sort of hand in hand. Like I think one of the cool parts about Chicago is you really have time to sort of grow before people see you. I felt like I was really part of a community and like got to make things with my friends, and you get to feeling you're a part of something special. But then it just sort of came about that I was getting a lot of stuff on the road as a stand-up, so I would sort of do improv when I was back in Chicago. And now I still try to maintain that a little bit. Like sometimes I'll get to go back to the playground and do their Big Yellow Bus show, which is really fun. In 2007, I did the Zany's Taste of Chicago stand-up comedy contest. I had hosted Zany's twice before, and I emailed the manager. I ended up winning, and I just sort of, from there, I got to do another festival like audition that got me to do the comedy festival in Las Vegas, and that November experience at the comedy festival in Las Vegas was like my first big break like that. That really made me feel like I could do it as a job. When I started out, I didn't ever think of it as like a thing that I could do, and so eventually I think that's part of the growth in the career. The earlier you can believe that it's something that you can do, the earlier that it happens. I was lucky enough to drive kind of an older car. It was this old like Jeep that was kind of messed up. Whenever I accelerated and it was cold outside, the inside lights would flicker on and off for no reason, and the locks would go back and forth really fast at the same time. It's fun to drive around the city of Chicago. I never brought it in to get it fixed because I don't really know how to explain that to somebody. That'd be kind of weird. It's like, what's wrong with your car? I'm pretty sure the previous owner is still inside. Please fix that. Can I get a ride home? Is anybody here? It's fun when I get to go back to the suburbs. I got a membership at the gym by my parents' house. It's a Lifetime Fitness gym, which is kind of awesome. A lot of Lifetime Fitnesses have indoor water slides, which is really convenient for my current Wednesday workout routine. I like to run stairs, and then there's a little surprise at the top. I'm just like, oh, this is so hard, worth it. They have a rule, though, that if no one else is using the water slide, you have to get a lifeguard to go over the top before you go down. You don't want to break that rule, you know, get a lifetime ban from a Lifetime Fitness. That'd be horrible. You know, meet someone I love very much, move to a town that's a Lifetime Fitness, and she just gets so, she's like, we should get a couples membership. We can take classes together, do yoga together. We can have kids and make them wait in this other room together while we go work out together. And then I just have to be like, you don't know everything about me. I participated in unsupervised fun. And I'm still paying that price. Sorry. So I wanted to do it one time, and I wanted to follow the rules. It's just kind of awkward, I realize, you know, being in like an adult man, and then having to go up to another adult man, and just being like, what's up? Can you come watch me go down the water slide? Just make sure I don't hurt myself. If I do, I don't know what you're gonna do. You can't come down the slide to get me. Otherwise, you could get a lifetime ban. There's no one there to watch you.
But then once I come back and like I'm actually in the place where like I walked through a lot as a kid, or I did different things as a kid, it just becomes all more important to me, and I sort of remember those things with a great joy. I guess nostalgia is one of the words that you could use to describe it. Just like, oh, I was there when I was a little kid, and now that looks smaller because I'm bigger. I do feel like throughout this thing that this is like the horror movie that's about to start, and like something's gonna attack this town, and then we'll have it all on tape. I feel excited that I have a reason to come back. Like, if I were to just come back on my own, I think I would be welcome, but I think I would feel weird at first wanting to come back. Because, I don't know, in life you're supposed to sort of let go of things and not want them back. So if I just came back without this, it might feel like I was trying to relive something that was over. So it's nice to be able to have this, because then I get an excuse to like relive it, because it's a part of a documentary that we're showing people. And also come back for the show, and I sort of have like an excuse to sort of go back to that place that maybe I've been afraid to like sort of relive, because you said goodbye, and so it's hard to say goodbye. And I also feel like no matter what happens, I've had this great experience like reconnecting with people and being able to enjoy it, that's always going to be there regardless of whether people laugh at my show or not. I think when I was in middle school, that was like when we left my elementary school to go to middle school for sixth grade, and I was in like a class with all new people, and like you get made fun of, and sort of that's hard. And I think that was one of the things when I decided to do stand-up comedy. I think it was partially because I wanted to control that for me, like, oh, I can make a joke out of it, so I don't have to worry about what they're going to make a joke out of. And also because maybe people would laugh at me and not make jokes about other people. Like, it'd be like sort of like a service. So, yeah, that's a great quote.
It's interesting moving like from here to Chicago, because like growing up in like a smaller town in Indiana, you realize that Indiana is a small town near Chicago in itself. It's just that's the way the world sees it, which is nice. I walked to school a lot. It was fun. I remember the first year that my older brother was walking to middle school, and my younger brother and I were walking to St. Bernard's Elementary School. And yeah, I plugged it, whoever asked me to. Nobody asked me to. I just was walking to school with my younger brother. My older brother was walking to middle school. I remember my mom pulled me aside. She's like, Michael, you're the older brother now. I wanted to be like, what happened to my older brother? Like, Michael, you're the older brother walking to elementary school. So you walk with your younger brother to school. Make sure you walk on the outside of the sidewalk. That way, when a car comes off the road, you'll be able to protect your brother. I thought you didn't have favorites. Mom, I'm pretty sure if a car comes off the road, I'm just going to run away from that car. Those are my car running away from instincts kicking in that have been trained by years of people running away from cars when they come off. I doubt my first instinct is going to be to run over to my brother and just be like, "Remember me forever." Why would a mother scare her 10-year-old child with news that cars could be flying off the road at 7 in the morning on the walk to school? I guess she did grow up in Chicago, where it's $50 cheaper to park on the sidewalk, so. Maybe it's a reasonable thing. It's interesting now, being an adult and like seeing kids in public. It's gonna be hard to be a kid, or easy at the same. Sometimes easy, you know, because kids can feel something and just like cry or scream or be like ah or whatever. Whereas like adults, you realize, oh, if I feel sad, I should just keep that in, and like, if I feel scared, I should just keep it in, and then let it sit until it comes out in a medical emergency, and then at the hospital you can cry, and everyone understands that. You're like, oh, you're sick. Good, you kept it in. Kids don't do that. Like I was in a waiting room, actually, at a doctor's office one time, and there was a little kid and his dad, and the kid was playing with his dad's iPad, and he was playing this game on it, and it didn't go well. The kid didn't have a lot of success. I know that because he got upset. He's like, oh, and then he like almost threw it. Like it didn't leave his hands, but he like tried to, but then he realized that was crazy. Like he was like, oh, and then he like didn't throw it. But the dad took it away. He's like, you're not. He's like, no, give that to me. And the kid just got so upset. He was like, I didn't even drop it. I just did that one thing. I just did that one thing. I didn't even drop it. And I felt bad for the kid. I was just thinking, he just did that one thing. All he did was that one thing. He didn't even drop it. I felt so bad for the kid because he kept saying that, and the dad would just be like, all right, you're not going to be able to use it for the rest of the day now. All right, 2 days. You're not going to be able to 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5. He's just going to be like, it's not one thing. I'm like, shut up, kid. We're never going to be able to use it now. And we need that. We need that to get rid of the stress, to play the game. You're so stupid. Shut up. I didn't say that. I kept it all in like an adult. It'll come out later in a medical. I felt so bad for the kid. I started to fantasize about ways I could fix the situation. Like I was just like a really rich guy who carried around tons of cash. I'll just walk up to the kid and be like, here, kid, here's $1,000. You don't need that man anymore. If he's going to take things away from you after you only did that one thing. Who is he to judge? That was one thing, and you didn't even drop it. Live your life. I was watching the whole thing take place, and then at the very end, when they were leaving, the dad just gave it back to him. He told him he was going to take it away for 10 days, and he gave it back to him 20 minutes later. I felt cheated. I was so emotionally invested in this relationship that wasn't even real. He was just throwing out fake threats to the son to make him do something. And I kind of wanted him to not be able to get it for 10 days. Like, I experienced that, you know? I felt cheated. I felt like that'd be like if I watched like all of Breaking Bad, and then at the very end you just find out it's just blue candy they're giving out to kids just to play a trick on Hank. He's the police officer in that TV show.
This is where I went to elementary school, St. Bernard School. From 2nd grade to 5th grade, we moved to a house right down the street for like that first year, and we could hear the bell ring from our house. So it was like you could literally never be late for school. My first play ever, The Pirates of Penzance, which was at the Eagles Theater, was a St. Bernard School production from Mrs. Koppler. I was a pirate and a cop. I played both characters to the best of my ability. Going to a Catholic school, you do feel like a little bit like there weren't a lot of Catholics in our town. It was sort of I was sort of a minority in that sense, religion-wise, and I feel like just that sense of being a little different maybe makes you more have a different way you look at things, or also be okay with being different enough to get on stage. Like you maybe some of the projects you do or whatever, you sort of makes you sort of learn how to like talk. Jesus helps you. That's the main thing.
One thing I do miss about being a kid is when you are good, like when you don't break down in public, people like compliment you, because that's how frequent it happens. Like when you go on a trip or you go to the store with your parent and then you go somewhere else, people are like, how was the store? And then you're just like, Michael was so good. He just sat there and he didn't say it, he was just so good. And I miss that because I feel like sometimes as an adult, I'm really good and no one says anything. And I think sometimes it would feel good to get, like I'm on a flight and I'm sitting in the middle seat and it's like people aren't sharing this space very well and the guy leans back so like my computer doesn't open all the way and then the seatbelt sign's on so I can't go to the bathroom the whole time. And then I'm just so upset. And then at the very end, the flight attendant comes up to me and he's like, Michael, I just want to let you know that you have been a very good man on this flight. I talked to the other flight attendant. We all agree. Even the pilot said, he hasn't even been back here. He knows you've been a good man on this flight. And we just want you to know that. And I think I'd feel really good about that. I think I would really appreciate that experience. I try to hold on to my childhood in ways that, because I can't be a kid, but I still own a Ninja Turtle t-shirt, which is, I realize kind of old to be wearing a Ninja Turtle t-shirt. I'm not 28 anymore, but it's pretty cool. It says Turtle Power, has all of them on it. It's black and white. It's from Hot Topic. I was wearing it in a store one time, and there's this older lady at the register, and she had an accent, too. So there's a big cultural gap, but she just jumped right in. She's just like, oh, Turtle Power. I like that. I'm like, really? She's like, yeah, slow and steady wins the race. I didn't have the heart to tell her. I was just like, yes, they do. I hope she checks me out before I laugh in her face. I will pay in cash. It's interesting talking to people who work at places because they talk to strangers all day, and they're the first stranger I've talked to that day. And sometimes I think they're my friend, and I make jokes, and sometimes they don't get like one time I was buying these shoes. I was at the store, I was looking at these shoes, and they're like old school New Balances, and this is not a promotion for them. But unless they give me a lot of money, then I do like them. But anyways, I was looking at these shoes, and I was like, are these running shoes? Can I run in these shoes? And the guy was like, no, they're more for walking around in. And because I'm hilarious, I said, what if there's danger? It's important to know, right? Can I run if there's danger, or do I not have the arch support for an emergency situation? That'd be horrible if my friend's apartment building, fire alarm goes off, I'm just like, oh boy. I don't have the footwear for this. Michael, there's a fire. It's an emergency. I asked about emergencies. We covered it. One of my good friends, I do the stand-up too. He's in a relationship right now. I've been in it for a while, and she's a little older than us. It's okay. She's still really pretty, and not that that's the most important thing. It's what's inside. And that's not his issue. Is that she's a little older, so she's like more successful. Like he said this one time, he was like, "I just hate it. And my girlfriend makes more money than me." And I don't know how to respond to that because I was so happy to find out that I knew someone that was dating someone that had a lot of money. Yeah. Like I didn't want to pull out my phone in front of him and be like, "Oh, added detail. If I'm ever in trouble, contact his girlfriend because she has extra cash." Like, I didn't know what to say. I couldn't relate. What am I supposed to do? Be like, "Oh, I hope she loses her job." Maybe we can frame her for a felony and make her really unemployable. I don't know. It's just hard to relate to, like he has a girlfriend that he loves and she has a lot of money. He took two good things, put them together, and then found a way to complain about it. Well, that'd be like, I was like, oh, I got these awesome Super Bowl tickets and they want me to play. So I want to watch the game, but I also want to score touchdowns and end up on NFL films. I tried to think about it, though. I tried to think about times where maybe I could relate to that, where I had two good things and I put them together and I was able to complain about it. And I realized it definitely has happened where I've been like on a date with a girl who I really like, who's really pretty, and we're on a date and I really like being with her. And then I ordered dessert that I really like and it tastes really good and looks really good. And I really like being with that dessert. And then because she's there, I have to share that with her. And I realize that's when I can be like, oh, don't want her here. Like, a lot of desserts are big. You don't realize it at first. You're like, you want to share? Of course, let's share. It's really big. But then you get to that part where you finish your part, and you want more, because that's how sugar works. Like, I want more. And then you look at her like, oh, okay. You got that part. And then you start resenting that person for things that aren't even real. Like, I think she got more frosting. I mean, I think she wanted the more frosting. She said she didn't care, but I think she did care. It's like, you shouldn't let that stuff come between you two, you know? You have to, like, not have that stuff. I don't know. I feel like you have to share if you're on a date with someone. You have to be pretty far along in a relationship to not share, you know? For her to be like, what are we going to do next? And for you to be like, well, I'm going to order dessert, and you're going to keep your fork on that side of the table. Get your own, right? Otherwise, you can't just eat it yourself if you're on a date with somebody. I did come up with one way. I was just brainstorming for no reason. That maybe like one way to do it was like if you had like a secret signal to the bartender that you want dessert, but not to bring it over right away, and then you like actually left the restaurant with her, and then you're outside in the parking lot. You're like, oh, I left my credit card inside. Like when I was paying for our dinner, I left my credit card inside, so I better go get it. Look, there's really you should probably just stay out here. There's the sun. You love the sun. And then like you walk inside, and then you get to eat the dessert really fast. And then you come outside, and you're happier because of that moment. And she's like, what's on your face? And you're like, nothing.
Well, tell us a little bit about what you kind of, I know you've been on Leno, of course, Letterman, things like that. And tell us a little bit about some of the things that have happened for you in your early career.
Yeah, those were a lot of them. I got to do the Tonight Show first and meet Jay Leno, and that was like quite an honor and like a career milestone. And then I got to do Letterman 6 months later, which was also really fun. Craig Ferguson, I've been in his show twice, and I had a half hour on Comedy Central 2 years ago. And I got an opportunity to do a web series with Comedy Central called Growing Up and Getting Out.
Yes.
And David Koechner, he played my dad. He's been in a lot of movies like Anchorman and The Office. And then Mo Collins from Mad TV, she played my mom. And it was a really great experience to be able to sort of act in that realm. Right now, I'm working on recording and like releasing an album through Rooftop Comedy. It's a website, Rooftop Productions, rooftopcomedy.com. And then I'm working on this documentary that's happening right now as we talk.
Yeah, I was gonna say they got cameras in here, and man, I don't know. I was worried that I'd break them. So
no, it loves you. The cameras love you.
Oh, I'm glad somebody does.
That's one positive of like traveling and going to like sometimes I go to restaurants by myself, and that is a thing where you get to eat the dessert all by. Sometimes it fills the emptiness of not having that person there, you know? It's like, oh, I'm alone, this kind of sucks. And then they're like, do you want dessert? I'm like, oh, there's a reason I'm alone. The universe works in mysterious ways, and one of those is chocolate cake. One time I was at a restaurant called the Cheesecake Factory, and you have to get dessert there. They make it there. It's the factory. And it'd be rude not to. And their desserts are really big, but I'm a man, so who cares? I ordered dessert there, and they brought it, and it had 2 spoons with it, and I was eating by myself. What am I supposed to do? Be like, oh, thank you for allowing me to pretend. And now I get to pretend that I'm a young couple eating a dessert. That's great, right? The girl's like, oh, this is such great dessert. Oh. The guy's like, but it doesn't fix things. That was an imaginary couple with real problems. I was at a diner one time. Diners are great for dessert. They put it in glass cases. It's like the diamonds of the restaurant. I was at a diner one time, and the server brought the check before dessert was even brought up as an option. And it's kind of awkward as an adult man to be like, ooh. Hold on. I ate all my vegetables. I don't know how you were raised, but I think I get a cupcake. Check under the table. I didn't drop anything under the table. Okay. One of the carrots flew off I caught it with my hand in my mouth because I have good vision because I eat my vegetables. You think I hid some in my napkin? Really? I'm an adult. You think I hid vegetables in my... Okay, there's some broccoli in my napkin. I'm not a fan. I don't know. I was walking past a chocolate store one time, and they had a sign in their window that said, "We sell chocolate-covered bacon." I think that's one of the most necessary signs in the world, because no one wants to go in there and ask if they have chocolate-covered bacon. I think most people would want that to be a covert operation, you know? Just walk in there and just be like, "I'll have a pound of that. Please do not repeat out loud what I pointed at." There are attractive people in here that I would like to talk to in the future. I don't know. I think if I did have to ask for it, it would just be awkward, you know? I would just walk in and be like, "Hey, you guys, you have a lot of chocolate stuff in here. So, do you ever have like chocolate and then like something else?" It's like, I want bacon. I actually brought my own bacon. Can you just melt some chocolate on top of it really fast? I don't know. Food's good. I love food. I love people too. One time I was dating a girl, and it had been a while since I was in like a relationship like that, and I said I love you, and it wasn't at the point where I was like, like this is the word I love you. I was just feeling love, and so I said I love you, and I was like I love you, and she was like, "You do?" Which whenever I've said I love you, I never expect to hear a sentence that ends in a question mark and an exclamation point. Like that's not. I love you. You do? No, not really. Just joking. I'm a comedian. Ha. Joke number 1. You're a part of it. I've been dating a girl now for a little bit, and she's really sensitive or critical. I think they're the same thing. Right? It's the same thing, right? Right? I don't know. No. Like, if ever I'm quiet for a little bit and I haven't said anything, she'll just be like, "What are you thinking?" And I hate that because I'm not thinking about her. Like, I'm just like, because she's with me. That's covered. Like, I don't need to think about her. She's already there. When I'm not with her, then I need to think about her so I can figure out how to get her here. But she's here. I'm not thinking about you. And then I get nervous because I feel like I'm going to say something, like the wrong thing. And she, like, sometimes I do that. I'm like, say what I'm thinking. And she's like, "I don't know if it's good for you to be thinking about that." Like, okay. Well, I think you're biased, first of all. Second of all, I got to the point early on where I was like kind of insecure about it, so I just trained myself wherever I ever was quiet for a little bit, I would just think happy thoughts about her, so I'd be ready. Right? Like, "What are you thinking? You're so special." I can't believe I was thinking that right when you asked that. Oh my gosh. I need more time to myself. What? That wasn't what else. It's funny. It's fun. Couple weeks into the relationship, we were driving in my car in like the city of Chicago, you know, getting through traffic, going somewhere fun, and she was just like, "Michael, I just want to let you know that my ex-boyfriend had a drawer in my room, and I just want to let you know that today I cleared out that drawer. I just want you to know that." And I'm glad she shared that, but I didn't really care. I was trying to merge. Like, all right, I'm not getting in this interstate right now, so that's great. I'm really happy for you, but I don't want to get in an accident. I should have been more considerate. I've never been jealous of drawer space in my entire life. I've never been like, "Were there any hangers? Does he have any hangers there? I'm buying you all new hangers." I should have been more supportive. You know, it's probably a lot of nostalgia. She probably loved him. It's always hard to convince yourself to clean. I could at least encourage that. It's like, that's great, you cleared out that drawer, but if you really want closure, you should clean your bathroom too, because it doesn't make you feel so good. It'll feel so good.
My name is Bill Barrows, and I was a baseball coach for Michael. He was comedic even then, but I never considered him one of the guys that we would consider a class clown, but he was extremely cerebral and understood what was going on. He was always prepared. Him and both of his brothers were the same way. Their work ethic was really good for their age, and I think that really prepared him for what he does now.
My name is Patrick Palascak. I'm the older brother, Michael Palascak. We were so blessed to move to Wabash, Indiana in 1990. Such a wonderful town, so supportive. I'm going to get emotional, but
I am Samantha DeTurk Grugine. I met Michael in 6th grade. Michael was this dorky little kid with braces and glasses, and I loved him. I was in love. And everyone was like, what are you talking about? He's such a dork. I'm like, just you wait, Michael Palascak. We were super good friends all through middle school and high school, and we would argue a lot. We would get into all these fantastically philosophical debates, and there was nobody quite like Michael to challenge me in those years, and vice versa. And I think Wabash is a special community because it's such a special place, and I think this is the type of town and community that just wraps its arms around its own, and we don't have a lot of small town girls and boys made good, so we're all going to come out and support that. He could come here once a month, and it'd be the same deal, sold out show.
We travel a lot, or I travel a lot, and she stays where she is, so I don't see her all the time. And so we FaceTime, which is the thing on your phone that you can hold the person in your hand. It's like the future, but it's now. Like you're holding, and it's great, except when the reception isn't that good, and then she gets blurry, because I don't know, I'm talking to my girlfriend, and all of a sudden it freezes on her blurry face, and that's the most unattractive I've ever seen her. You can not wear makeup, but just don't go blurry on me. That's all I'm saying. And I start to question my choices. I'm like, oh, I don't know. I love her, but I don't know if I want my kids to look like that when they're blurry. I can't do that to my kids. I don't know if that's smart. Love is weird, because people love their families, and if they're married, they love their spouse. And it's the same word, but it's different. One of my friends got a divorce. I was like, what happened? He was like, oh, I just didn't feel like I loved her anymore. Oh, I don't feel like I love my family sometimes. But I've never been like, you know what? I need to find a younger, hotter family. I've never been accused of cheating on my parents. That'd be weird, just come home late at night, my mom's up crying, like, Michael, where have you been? You smell like a meatloaf. You've been at the Thompsons. Was it good, Michael? Was it good? Was it better than mine? I hope it was, because you're never getting it here, ever. Ever again. My parents have been together my whole life, so I think I did a good job with them. You just do your best and hope for the best. They're good kids. Stayed away from drugs. I asked my mom one time how that worked out. I was like, Mom, how did you know that was the person that you wanted to marry? And that's when you wanted to get married. She looked at me and she was like, well, Michael, when you meet the right person, you just know. Good talk. What if I know and she doesn't? How's that going to work out? It's like, hey, I really want to hang out more. Oh, I don't know. Well, I just know. So you're going to get in the car. Right now. Our future kids will be like, Dad, how did you meet Mom? I'll just be like, well, I just know. So I took her. And I kept her with me until she knew too. And that's how you know when she is not going to press charges anymore. That's how you know. Two of my best friends from high school got married to their girlfriends right after college. We were all hanging out one time. It's like the two couples and then me. I'm fine. And we were all hanging out. It was really fun. All of a sudden, the one couple was like, we're having a baby. And everyone was excited. I was excited I could be there when everyone else found out, so I didn't have to like it on Facebook. And then it got weird. And then the wife was like, yeah, we weren't even trying. Oh, I don't need to know that part. I just found out my best married friend's going to be a dad for the first time ever. Does she really think my first thought is, oh, I wonder what the effort level was? I really want to know the effort level. I feel like it would be rude to ask. I hope she blurts it out. I didn't even know how to respond to that information, right? Like, we're having a baby. Oh, congratulations. And we weren't even trying. Way to go, slackers! To be honest, I didn't even know exactly what that meant right away. I didn't know that you could try more than you were already trying. That there were like super bonus days. I had to have a separate sex talk with my mom as an adult thanks to these friends. If we're gonna be really honest, they were kind of trying, like a little bit. They were like, when I go to bed by myself, that's not trying. You don't hear me bragging about that during dinner. Michael, what's going on with you? Last night I wasn't even trying. What does that even mean? I got a lot of sleep. What happens if their child finds out they weren't even trying? I bet it would make him more confident. Shows up to kindergarten. My parents made me and they weren't even trying. I'm pretty much like Jesus. I will not be needing swimming lessons.
But then once I come back and like I'm actually in the place where like I walked through a lot as a kid, or I did different things as a kid, it just becomes all more important to me, and I sort of remember those things with a great joy. I guess nostalgia is one of the words that you could use to describe it. Just like, oh, I was there when I was a little kid, and now that looks smaller because I'm bigger. I do feel like throughout this thing that this is like the horror movie that's about to start, and like something's gonna attack this town, and then we'll have it all on tape. I feel excited that I have a reason to come back. Like, if I were to just come back on my own, I think I would be welcome, but I think I would feel weird at first wanting to come back, because I don't know, in life you're supposed to sort of let go of things and not want them back. So if I just came back without this, it might feel like I was trying to relive something that was over. So it's nice to be able to have this, because then I get an excuse to like relive it, because it's a part of a documentary that we're showing people, and also come back for the show, and I sort of have like an excuse to sort of go back to that place that maybe I've been afraid to like sort of relive, because you said goodbye, and so it's hard to say goodbye. And I also feel like no matter what happens, I've had this great experience like reconnecting with people and being able to enjoy it, that's always going to be there regardless of whether people laugh at my show or not. That's 100% true. I think when I was in middle school, that was like when we left my elementary school to go to middle school for sixth grade, and I was in like a class with all new people, and like you get made fun of, and sort of and that's hard. And I think that was one of the things when I decided to do stand-up comedy. I think it was partially because I wanted to control that for me, like, oh, I can make a joke out of it, so I don't have to worry about what they're gonna make a joke out of. And also because maybe people would laugh at me and not make jokes about other people. Like, it'd be like sort of like a service. So yeah, that's a great quote.
My friends had their baby. I was excited for them. I called them to see how they're sleeping at night, because when babies are first born, they don't sleep at the same time as their parents because they don't love anybody yet. Maybe they do, they just express it differently, you know? Instead of I love you, they're just like... I don't know, if I was dating a girl and she was like... I'd be like, we're not gonna hang out. We're not gonna hang out anymore in public. My friend got kind of excited when I asked him. He's like, Michael, we figured out. If we strap our son into his car seat and then put him in his crib, he doesn't make any noise throughout the whole night. Oh, what an adorable hostage situation. What a cute little prisoner you have there. He is so quiet when I duct tape a sock to his mouth at knife point. Yes, you are. Yes, you. You're not gonna say a word. How are you gonna teach him to crawl? Are you gonna tape him to a vacuum cleaner and push him around on the floor? Like, look, he's crawling on his own. No, you just tied him to a Roomba. So, watch out for the walls. My other friends had a baby, like right after those friends had a baby. I think they were competing. It's currently 2-1. And I was actually driving through the town where they lived, like right after they had their baby. So I stopped by to see the baby, and I saw the baby, and then I was ready to do something else. And they weren't. That was the main event. They're just like, Michael, do you want to hold the baby? What? Right? We're not related. I haven't even held my friend yet. Like, I don't know. I couldn't imagine myself saying no to that, though. It'd be weird. Like, do you want to hold the baby? Like, no, I'm good. Haven't held a beverage in a while if you got one of those. That's the main reason I'm here. So I felt like I had to hold it, and I found out later that my friend made fun of me to my other friend because he said I looked nervous holding their baby, which is kind of rude. You know, I'm just nervous because I don't want it to die in my arms, right? That's the first baby I've ever held as an adult. I don't know if they keep records, but I don't want to be 0-1 off the top. That's all I'm saying. Secondly, I don't know what my insurance covers, but I'm pretty sure if I call them and ask if I have a baby deductible, they're going to ask a lot more questions and then raise my premiums. I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember being, nervous. But secondly, making fun of me doesn't make me less nervous, It just makes me want to prove them wrong, which I don't think they want when it comes to holding their child, Like, Michael, you're so nervous. You're so nervous. Oh, Mike, I'm like, throw me that baby. I don't care. Eyes closed, glove up, Sandlot. Like, hey, go make 2 more so I can learn how to juggle. Like, I'm just like, I'm learning. I don't even remember being nervous. I just remember being really focused. I got in the baby holding position. I think my thought process was, like, they're going to put the baby right here. So if I don't move, and it falls, that is not my fault. I'm just hanging out like, oh, this is a great time. Whoa, I didn't drop her, she jumped. You have an athlete on your hands, college scholarship. Way to go. I don't know. It's fun, though. Fun. Babies are fun. My older brother, he became a dad recently, which is exciting. It was fun. He became a dad on exactly the same day that I became an uncle. What are the odds? Yeah. I got to buy a Christmas present for a baby for the first time in my life, which is cool. It's kind of weird, though. Like, what do you get for the person in your life who doesn't remember you every time you see him? I remember I went to the store and I bought a baby gift, and as I was checking out, the guy behind the register was like, do you want a gift receipt for this? Oh, he's under 1. So if he doesn't like it, he'll learn to live with it. If he already has it, we'll put this one upstairs and tell him it's magic. I bought him this toy that I had when I was a kid. It's this white plastic pole, and different colored donuts go around it, so the kid learns shapes and colors and OCD at a very young age. Right? Poor kid's 1, and it's like, it has to look like a rainbow. I don't know. My sister-in-law called me up. She's like, Michael, Nathan loves your gift. And I felt good. I felt like we had a connection. I felt like maybe someday he'd get me something really awesome, too, to pay me back. Right? 30 years from now, he's like a millionaire CEO. He'd be like, Uncle Michael, shapes and colors, changed my life. BMW. But then she described how he used it. She's like, yeah, what he did was he took 2 of the donuts off and he used them to crawl around the house faster. It's easier on his hands. Okay, well, he's using it wrong. Maybe instead of a bedtime story, we should read him the instructions one night. You think he loves it because he broke it, and then he used pieces of it to get away from the rest of it as quickly as possible. Was that love? Well, then I love the sweater you guys got me for Christmas. I'm going to cut it up and use it as paper towel. I don't want to be rude. I'll think about you every time I get pizza on my face.
Some of my pre-show emotions about going in front of my sort of previous hometown crowd is that I feel excited that I get to do a show. I always feel excited about doing stand-up. And I think I think I feel a little nervous because it's just kind of different performing for people who knew you not only before you did stand up, but like before you were like when you were a kid. Like we moved here when I was 7, so it's sort of like they've known me a long time, and I think it's always like it's almost like they know me better than I know me, so I can't like lie to anybody up there. Yeah. I think what surprised me about going back after not being there for a while was that sense of like everything has kept happening even though I've left. Because I've gone back before, but this is kind of like the biggest gap since I've gone back, and people have lives and they're living and everything. It's just sort of a weird feeling to not be a part of it all. Back and say your voice. I think like 5 years ago, like when I was sort of like the first wave of like being on TV and stuff, my style or voice was definitely sort of like I really focused on like living at home and finishing college and being from a small town and sort of like my past. And I think that that's sort of grown into like my experiences now, traveling a lot and how it is to sort of be an adult and have friends that are sort of experiencing these things that are different from what I'm experiencing in this job. So I remember when it came to like getting ready for a show, I remember one of my friends, so I started out, who sort of like guided me a lot, was Brian Aldridge. And I remember one time seeing him before a show, and he was like, I don't know what I'm going to say. And sort of the sense of like, I'm not pre-planning like making people laugh here. I'm just going to go up and sort of share what I have and communicate it, and then people will laugh. And I think that attitude is really important. No matter what you're going to do, it's just sort of, if you like tighten up and really like, this is going to be funny, it makes you less you, and I think you have to be more you. The person that people can relate to. It's so amazing as a stand-up comedian how people can sense everything that's going on with you. They might not know it, but I can go up and do a joke that works one day and it doesn't work the next day, and they might not know why they didn't laugh, but I know exactly because I know what I was feeling and how that affected it. And I think sort of as a stand-up to be like, oh, I wrote this today and it worked tonight. That's like the best feeling in the world. Like it's like it's like money. Like it feels good. It feels like you're getting paid for your job, even if you're just doing it at that night for a free show or something. If you hold on to what you're doing, no matter what happens, you sort of know that you did what you loved, and no one can ever take that away.
I stayed with him for a couple days, like 6 months after he was born. It was really fun. He's really smart. My parents really think he's really smart. Like he came over for Halloween one time, and they were just bragging after they left. They're like, Michael, Nathan is so smart. We showed him a pumpkin. He went up and touched it. And then, before they left, he went up and he touched that pumpkin again. Oh, wow. His pumpkin recognition is off the charts. We should get him into a pumpkin recognition university as soon as... I must have been really dumb as a baby, if that's... They just showed me a pumpkin and I was just like, new dad? I don't know. Whatever you guys want me to do. I got to stay with him and it was fun, but he was at an age where he still didn't sleep through the night yet, and I stay up late, so if I was up and the baby woke up, I would get interrogated like I was a criminal. Like, Michael, did you make a noise in the kitchen? He doesn't even sleep in the kitchen. I don't remember all my noises. I did drop a bag of pretzels 20 minutes ago. Maybe he thought I was going to bring him a pretzel, and then he realized that he can't even eat pretzels yet, and then he got sad about something else for 19 minutes, and then he started crying. Have you considered that he's just not happy with his current living situation? What's his sleep number? Have we even asked? I would come home after midnight from shows, and I know it to be quiet at that hour, But my brother would be right at the door when I came, like, shh, and I know it to be quiet. I don't know what he thought. If I was going to walk in the house, be like, hello, everyone! Show me the child! Like, that's not how I enter a house on a normal hour, let alone... But he'd be right there. I put the key in the door. He'd be right there. We're like, shh, Nathan is sleeping. Okay, good. Shh, sounds a lot like a bag of pretzels falling. So shh, on the shh. Finally, I was just like, you're blaming me because I'm here. And he's like, Michael, we're just tired. We're just so tired. And then he started to fall asleep in front of me. You gotta get sleep, I try to get 8 hours. Sometimes I'll wake up after only 5 hours. I'll go to sleep for another 5 just to teach myself a lesson. Like, you only wanted 5? You got 10. What are you going to do now? Probably a little less. I become a different person when I don't get enough sleep. Sometimes that happens when I travel. I don't get enough sleep. One time, I laughed at a child crying. Something I did. I was on an airport tram, like the tram that goes around all terminals, and a family of 4 tried to get in, and only 3 of them made it. Yeah, I'm not the only one laughing right now. So maybe think about that time when you judged me a couple minutes. Eventually they all made it, but at first they didn't, and it was hilarious. Not because of the kid that got left out. I feel for that kid. I feel bad for that kid. I laugh at the other kid who's like inside and his parents don't see it, and the little kid thinks he's gonna lose his sister, and he was just like, oh no! Oh no! Real fear on a child is really funny. Like, I don't care. I wish we could have let that moment last longer, you know? Like instead of the parent stopping the door from closing right away, maybe he just puts his hand on the glass for a second, looks at his daughter, and is just like, use everything you've learned. I don't know, it would have been fun. When I fly, I learned a lot about things, and one time I was sitting and they were taking drink orders, and the lady in the window seat, they took her drink order, and she said she wanted an agua, which from my high school years of Spanish means water. And the flight attendant knew it meant water too, because she said something in Spanish also. And then the lady in the middle seat, she said she wanted agua also. And now I'm like, okay, wow, this is the diversity row. I'm a minority, I want rights. I felt kind of weird because I wanted water, but I didn't know what to say because I didn't know if I could pull off an agua. I didn't want to disrespect their agua. I didn't want to sound like a bad episode of Sesame Street, like agua tambien, rojo. Is that something? But also, I was like, maybe I'll just say water because that's my home language. But I didn't want to offend anybody. They were expressing themselves culturally, you know? I didn't want to shoot that down. Part of me was afraid that I would say water and they would hear, we need to build a fence around this country. That's not something I agree with. I don't like fences. So I just looked at the flight attendant and I was like, I want water, but I don't know what to say. I realized I really like sitting in the last row of planes because if your seat leans back, you can lean back the whole flight because you don't have to worry about trapping someone behind you in a fire and killing them. Also, I heard it's safer in the back of the plane. I'm not sure why. Like maybe if the plane crashes, everyone in front of you becomes an airbag. I don't know. But recently, I was flying to Wichita, the one in Kansas, and I was really excited because I was in the last row of the plane. I was walking back to my seat, and there's like a woman in the window seat, which is fine. I'll sit next to a woman. And there's my seat, and then there's just a man standing there next to my seat, which is kind of weird. You know, it's not like a train. Like, I'm going to get off at Chicago. We're all going to the same place. I started to put my stuff up in the overhead, and he was like, hey, and I ignored him because he's a stranger. I put my stuff up in the overhead. I went to get in my seat, and he was still there. He's like, hey, this is my wife. Do you mind switching me seats? You can sit up front, and I can sit next to my wife. And I didn't really care about him or his wife because I didn't know them, and I really like sitting in the back. So I was just like, no, I really like sitting in the back. Is that okay? I didn't go into detail why I like sitting in the back. I thought that might be kind of rude to be like, that way if we crash and you become an airbag. Like, you're dead. I live a long time. Thank you. I appreciate you. And I care about him as a person, just not enough to give him my seat. You know, I was just like, is that okay? And I figured he'd be like, yeah, and walk away. Because he didn't have a choice. I had the ticket, you know. TSA said it was okay. You can't say no to them. But he did. I was like, is that okay? And he was like, yeah, if you want to sit next to my wife. Oh, okay, that's not what this is about. I just like sitting in the back. You just turned it into, you may have your wife forever, but I have her for now. Really? Do you think I'm going to try to steal your wife on the way to Wichita, Kansas? I don't have pickup lines for Wichita, Kansas. Like, what's up, baby? Once this plane hits the ground, we're going to claim our free land. I don't know. I think that bill expired. part of me just really wanted to make fun of him, you know. Just be like, oh, you love your wife so much, oh, and you'll miss her because she'll be way back here, and you'll be way up there, and it's just so far, and it's so long, and you only have so long together, and it's so long without her, and who knows what could happen. It's just so sad because you love her so much, and I love my wife. I don't know. I could have been more sympathetic, but they're married. They're supposed to be together forever. It was an hour and 15-minute flight. Hour and 15 minutes out of forever. That's 0. I took calculus, and I think that applies.
No, I understand what you're saying. Because a lot of people think about the comedians and stand-up comics now that are ones that were the class clowns and they did a lot of the cutting up. Was that you? Did you do a lot of the clowning around the class? Or
No, I think I was, I kind of was quiet. Like a lot of my friends would say that they wouldn't have expected me to be a comedian. I think we were just talking to some of my teachers, and I think a lot of them felt similar.
They didn't see that one coming, did they?
No.
Did you expect him to be a student that would go on to do, not just to be successful, but to do something sort of non-mainstream successful, like be a comedian?
No. No. I mean, yes, I expected him to be successful. Mike was a kid who definitely set up for success. Supportive family, who's gonna push him and make sure that he's, keeping his nose clean and staying out of trouble. But as a comedian, no, I wouldn't have had him pegged as a comedian. My name is Bill Benish. I teach biology and chemistry here at Wabash High School.
My name is Terry Oswald. I'm a 6th grade teacher at Wabash Middle School.
Hi, I'm Linda Troop. I teach at Wabash High School. I'm an English teacher.
My name is Connie Gorman, and I had Michael as an English student.
Hi, I'm Michael Palascak. This is the high school that I went to. We're basically going to talk to some of my teachers and people that knew me when I was in high school. I never did stand-up comedy. I think maybe sometimes I said things that were funny, but I don't really remember those. This wasn't painted here. I think the wall is new too. I don't know what came first. Probably the wall. Also, I enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed some of the teachers.
I never saw Michael as someone who was going to go on in sciences and math. He was a literature person. He was philosophical. He could go there when we had those conversations in class. It seemed to me that he was going to go somewhere creative.
When I had Michael in class, I was his 6th grade science teacher. I also had him when he was a football player. Many times whenever we were kind of down and the kids were kind of onto themselves, he would have a good word to say and sometimes bring the kids up a little bit. Being a quarterback, they kind of looked at him as a leader. An inspiration to most of the kids that were playing at the time. I have some fond memories of him in my science class also. Michael would kind of inject his humor into things. He had kind of a little bit of a dry sense of humor. I made a comment to him that, well, one of these days, if you keep this up, you'll probably be on the Tonight Show. A few years later, I was able to watch him shake hands with Jay Leno, and I think anytime somebody from a small town like Wabash does well, we all kind of rejoice in the success that they have.
But the one thing I remember about him was his writing. And one year I had the kids do a newspaper project over Romeo and Juliet, and I read it, and I was at home and I cracked up and I thought this kid could make money with his writing. It's been a wonderful experience to watch him grow. I mean, we have students who become doctors and lawyers and Indian chiefs, but it's so fun to watch somebody excel in entertainment because God knows we need laughter. He remembers Wabash. He bases a lot of his humor on what happened in small-town Wabash, and I appreciate the fact that the humor is so good and pure and clean, and it's so funny, and the things that he recalls, and he presents the town in such a good light and such a positive life, and that's been wonderful.
My memories of Michael were that he was a hardworking kid. Very, very kind to other people. A pleasure to have in class. Definitely a pleasure to have in class. He was a jock, but a really good student. Worked hard, turned in quality work. You'd always count on him. The fact that Mike is keeping in touch with this town and kind of reaching out to Wabash and acknowledging his roots, it means a lot to us.
It's easy to make fun of marriage. It must be nice to know that if you are married to someone, that legally someone has to hang out with you. They have to. They said they would. It's like, hey, we're going to the movies. Oh, I don't want to go to the movies. Okay, do you want me to call the state of Michigan? You said you would, so I think we have to. I don't know. I've never had anybody that legally had to hang out with me. I guess like when I was in high school, my parents legally had to know where I was, but I didn't want to hang out with them then because they were stupid or whatever I said. But then I got a little older and they started going on vacation without me, and I was like, whoa. I need more guidance. I have to come too. I don't know enough about the world to be on my own. The other day, I was peeling an orange, and I touched my eye right away, and it burned. What's that about? I thought vitamin C was healthy. I didn't know it burned. I thought maybe it was a good burn, so I touched my eye twice, but it wasn't a good burn. Unless it's supposed to be 3 times, because I stopped. I remember the first time I overheard my parents talking about going on vacation to Florida without me. I thought I was going too, because that's just always how it happened. I got excited. I was just like, oh yeah, Florida, yeah, Florida, yeah. My dad just played it off. He's like, oh, it's just your mother and I. Oh, awkward. I thought you were bringing everyone that you loved. I didn't know that the team made cuts. You kids have fun. I don't know. So it must be nice, you know? To have that security. When you're single, you don't have that security. Like, you could go out with a girl one night, and then like 2 weeks go by where you don't hear from her, like theoretically. I heard that happens. And then if she wants to hang out, you just have to be okay with those 2 weeks. You know, you just have to be like, oh yeah, I was busy too for 2 weeks. I normally date bi-weekly. Anyways, it just makes sense for my flag football league. But 2 weeks, that's a long time. If you were married to someone and see her or hear from her for 2 weeks for no reason at all, you get to go on the news that night. You get to cry in front of the police. People care. You're a suspect, but people care. Sometimes I think it might be healthier if someone doesn't call you back to just assume they have been kidnapped. That way you know it's not you. It's definitely someone else. She wants to call you, but her hands are tied, literally. Her hands are tied. It could be dangerous, though, because then you might want to go find her, which you're just going to look crazy. Go to the news station like, someone kidnapped my girlfriend. What happened? Well, we had a great time, and I haven't heard from her. Oh. And then maybe you try to search for her. Like you put out a search, you search, and then maybe someday you run into her on the street because you're walking in front of her house a lot. And it's such an emotional moment for you. Like you imagine it, and then it happened, and you're just like, you're alive. I made a t-shirt with your face on it. It says, never forget. And that's your first name. I couldn't remember your last name. And then she feels bad. She's like, oh, I just want to be friends. I didn't know how to say that. And then you're just like, oh, no. I ordered a lot of shirts. I don't know. I like that I grew up here because when I travel and I go to small towns, it's like being not like it's ever like this, but I can connect a little better. Like one time I was in a really small town and they didn't have hotels at all, so they put me up at a bed and breakfast, which is the exact same thing as a hotel except at someone's house. Like a family already lives there. I felt like an orphan that had a new family. I wanted to rebel immediately. What time you want breakfast tomorrow? I know how to live my life. It was a nice place. They were really nice people. It was just a lot of antiques, you know? And antiques are great, but they're old, so maybe we just get rid of them, like unless they're nice. It's just like in the corner of my room was a small, empty, antique wooden crib. Yeah, that's not something I requested when I checked in. Like, sir, is everything okay? Yeah, but can I get a place for a ghost baby to sleep? I really want to play peekaboo all night long and not even know it. That's how I sleep at night. I can't sleep with a possible ghost baby in my room. I don't know how to take care of a real baby, let alone a ghost version. Like a real baby cries, you give it food or you walk away quickly. A ghost baby cries, there's way more to it than that. There's revenge issues. There's a reason it's not at rest. But at the same time, it's a baby, so it doesn't know how to communicate those issues to you very well yet. Well, I just end up driving around like, which hospital burned down? Point at it as we pass. I can't understand you. You better be in your car seat. Do you want to become a double ghost? One time in the airport, I saw a child on a leash harness, which is always exciting to see in public. Like, it's good to see kids like training for football at that young of an age, just pulling their parents. I always wonder when a mother decides they're gonna have their child on a leash harness. Like, is she in the delivery room? Like, yeah, you can cut that cord. I ordered my own. It looks like a monkey, so I always wanted a baby and a monkey. Now I have both. I love America. I don't mean to judge, like if anybody has their child on a leash harness, maybe they're fast. I don't know. It's just not something I can relate to. My parents never tied me up. They gave my older brother a whistle one time when we went to SeaWorld, which that must be scarier to get than a leash harness. At least with the leash harness, the parents being like, look, if you're going down, I'm going down with you. With a whistle, it's like, we're probably going to lose you. So when we do start blowing that whistle, then we'll come find you right after the dolphin show. I had a lot of allergies growing up. It's attractive. The doctor told me the reason, like, I'll eat like something with like an egg in it or something, and my body like swells up and it's hard to breathe because my body sees like an egg as a foreign substance, and that's the way my body likes to protect itself. It's by swelling up and making it hard to breathe. My body's an idiot. That's a horrible security system. I would never purchase that for anything I care about. Like, how's this car alarm work? Well, it locks you inside, and then it explodes. We're going to shop around a little bit. My parents were kind of strict growing up. Like, my mom always made us go to bed really early when we were really young, and I always wanted to stay up later, so I'd make her tell me a story so I could stay up later, but never be a good story. It'd start out good. She'd be like, do you want to hear a story? I'm like, yeah. She's like, once there was a little boy. All right. It's pretty good for the current demographic. And his name was Michael. Oh, my God. That's mine. I'm in the story. And I'm listening to it. And like 3 minutes in, it wouldn't even be a good story. She'd be like, and he had two brothers, and names were Patrick and Brian, and they were always really nice to each other. I'm like, that's enough. You can leave. I'm not the star anymore. That's not even a story. You're just looking at me and then talking. That's a documentary. That's not the genre I requested. When I'm a parent, I'm going to tell my kid awesome stories, and if he falls asleep, I'll wake him up because that's rude. So like, and then the wizard crossed the fiery pit of fortitude. Hey, wake up. Wake up. Oh, you got kindergarten tomorrow. Yeah, you don't want to be tired for the place where they make you sleep. You know what? I'll just finish the story, and then you fall asleep. And then the wizard died because you fell asleep. When you fall asleep, people die.
It's so funny because it's not a huge school, but when you get to play on a field with lights and with everyone there, it feels like you're, I don't know, wherever the biggest stage is. And when you're playing, you don't get to see anybody really, but you just hear everybody. And no matter where we were at the game or how things were, people were always there to support. And so it was really fun. One thing I remember as quarterback playing football, there was one game, it wasn't at this field, but there was another one where I would throw passes and I would get hit. I got hit a lot. And I remember I'd be on the ground and I would listen to see which side of the stands were cheering to know whether it was like an incomplete pass or an interception. I think football, when I played football in high school, you put so much effort into it and you work so hard, and in the moment it feels like the game is the objective that you're supposed to do. But I think later on you sort of take the lesson of like, oh no, it's the process. And I think that definitely came into my comedy. When I was a sophomore, we were all just starting to play. And I remember my coach, literally there was one game where he pointed to the other team. He's like, they have a quarterback on their team that's a freshman. You're a sophomore. You just sort of need to like take on that role. So I think it was more of like, they sort of called it like a baptism by fire. One of the main similarities in comedy and in football or sports in general is that there's great success when you just sort of let go and trust everything, and there's great failure when you try to hold on and make it perfect. And I think that like all coaches in sports, and they're all about sort of letting go and being in the moment. My dad always said, like, to be a good baseball player, you have to be flaky. Like, I feel like once the season starts and it starts to get more intense, sometimes you lose that. But I remember my freshman year, one thing that was really fun was our coach, he had like a baseball game, video game tournament in the locker room or whatever. And that was fun or whatever, but the most fun was when you weren't playing, all the lights were off in the gym, so we would just take these tennis balls and we would just run around and throw them at each other as like some sort of game. And I remember one time my older brother like jumped a flight of stairs and sprained his ankle and was like limping the first couple games because of it. But I just remember that attitude of like, this is so much fun to do these with these guys that it took the pressure off of playing baseball really well. I think comedy, especially, like I had so much fun, and I feel like maybe as a stand-up now, maybe that's something I could maybe to do for people is like make them have a little better life. Maybe if they're in a slump in their senior year, they could turn around.
I don't know. My older brother, he's a senior in high school when I was a freshman. It's hard getting attention from girls as a freshman in high school when there's a full-grown version of you already there. Girls will come up and compliment my brother to me as if I was his underclassman representative. Like, Michael, your brother is so hot. Good. We've been working on that. I'm his brother, and I can barely keep my hands off him. Touch football, I just want to tackle him because he is so hot. With 4 O's and 2 T's, that's how I spell it when I write it on my geometry notebook. My younger brother, he's the most athletic. He played Division I college football, and he's a great person, but sometimes it'd be hard to relate to him because I did not play Division I college football yet. I still have all my eligibility. One time my brother was like, Michael, guess what? I just bench pressed 405 pounds. Like, oh, I just didn't. I just ate an omelet, and I'm kind of allergic to eggs. So I'm pushing myself, too. I'm maxing out on omelets right now. Right now I'm at 1, and I haven't even touched my EpiPen yet. 2, somebody spot me. I don't know. If you don't know what an EpiPen is, it's not a pen. Don't borrow it from anybody. It's like a needle with like epinephrine, like adrenaline. You stab yourself by accident, you're gonna have a very productive 10 seconds. We gotta go to the hospital. Yeah, but let's move this fridge first. Upstairs. I remember one time in high school, one of my friends, it was really fun. He got a hoop earring in one ear, which is cool. And that was weird because high schoolers are kind of indecisive. He came back the next week. He had a hoop earring in the other ear too. I was like, oh, what's going on here? I was like, why'd you get a hoop earring in one ear last week and now you have a hoop earring in both ears this week? Was one on layaway? Was your head off balance? My friend said this. He's like Michael, the guy said if you get a hoop earring in one ear, that means you're gay. If you get a hoop earring in both ears, that means you're straight. I was like, I don't know if that's true. But that is a great way to sell earrings. Especially to insecure high school boys. They should do that with other products. Like, how many iPhones do you want? I just want one iPhone. Oh, so you like guys. I loved growing up here because I got to play a lot of sports. It was really fun. It's hard sometimes because sometimes we didn't win a lot, and I want them to win more now, so I won't talk about it a lot. But I hope they win a lot. I I played football in high school, and it was just hard because, like, at the same time, which is very specific to that time, that all these high school football movies started coming out where they were really good already, like Varsity Blues. They're like, oh, we're really good. We're just crazy. We're like, you know. And you'd watch sports movies as a kid, and it was like a movie, so they'd be really bad at the beginning, and then they work really hard, and something happened, and then they'd be really good. We were kind of bad at the beginning, and they worked really hard, and then grades came out, and like a guy became academically ineligible. And then they failed mandatory drug tests that were random mandatory drug tests. It's hard to relate to those movies. Like another one that came, like Remember the Titans came out right after I finished. Like half the guys are white and half the guys are black, and they're all really good, and they're gonna win all their games. But the whole first part of the movie, they don't like each other. That was the big issue. They don't like each other. They're all really good. They win all their games, but they don't like each other because they're white and they're black, and that's what the whole first part of the movie is about. That's ridiculous. I played high school football on a football team, and we would have loved to have a black guy on our team. Like, it would have just been like, welcome! The other team will think you're our best player. We can finally run a reverse. I got my first job ever was here. I worked at the graveyard. That's a weird first job to have. It's like, you're at a young, vibrant part of your life. Here's where it all ends. Yeah, you work hard enough. This is where you get to end up because people care enough to write your name on stone. I don't know. It was a weird job to have. I always wanted like a fast food job because that's what my friends would work, and they would hook me up with free food, and that's not something I could offer them, you know? If they ever wanted to get hooked up, what am I supposed to do? Be like, oh, I don't, like when you die, I'll give you a place close to the street so people don't have to walk very far or something. I don't know. It's a weird job to have. Like I was like young, you know, you think that you're gonna live forever, and then I did the math on some of the gravestones. Maybe not. Like that's wow. Polio is a real thing. That's sad, or whatever. I don't know. It was a weird job to have. I felt jealous of my friends because they got to bring home free food. I bet their parents, I just imagine their parents being like excited to see them, being able to be a kid and like have your parents be excited to see you come home from work. Like, oh, you're home from work? Yeah, did you bring free food? Of course I did. Oh, we're so happy to see you. Sit down, tell us about your dreams. Like, I never got to experience that. What am I supposed to do? Like come home and like, hey mom, home from the graveyard. I got you some flowers. They say mom. So it's not every day you find a loved one's name on flowers. You gotta seize that day. My mom, like I said earlier, like both my mom and dad were from other cities, and I went to college, and we ended up moving here. And my mom, I think, like she always had like these worries that were kind of connected to being from a big city, but we weren't in like a big city. But like I always felt like she was worried I would join a gang. Like I just felt like she'd be like, "Why are you wearing your hat like that?" Like really, what do you think I'm gonna do? We live in rural Indiana. The closest thing we had to a gang was the Future Farmers of America. They should have been a gang, like, stay off our turf. We're trying to grow corn. I'm gonna kick the crap out of you, then use it for fertilizer. Drive-by pesticides. Your food's no longer organic. Thanks you guys so much. I really appreciate it. I'm Michael Palascak.